No sign of Jesse yet.
I'm here. Oops.
Oh, there he is. So, well, we will carry on. It's close enough to 6 o'clock, and I want to welcome the counselors and all the staff as well. Hopefully, this will maybe our last virtual council meeting if we're going to extend the if the lockdown isn't extended any longer. So, I also want to welcome everybody that's joining us on Facebook and YouTube tonight as well, the visitors. So, I'll ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Good evening, Your Worship. All members are present.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is review and revision or deletion to the agenda. Anybody got anything they want to add or delete from the agenda tonight? If not, I've got a motion be it resolved that City Council approves the agenda as printed. That was moved by Councilor MacArthur, second by Councilor Jelly. Anybody opposed to that motion? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll say that motion's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature tonight? Hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, the review and adoption of the council minutes. And I've got a motion moved by Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor Foley. Be it resolved that the City Council approves the following minutes as printed. The regular meeting of council that was held on January the 19th, 2021. Anybody, any comments, errors, or omissions on that set of minutes? Anybody opposed to that motion? Hearing none. Item number 7 is the public meetings pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, or other statutes, and we have none tonight. We've reached the first question and answer period. Do we want to take one of the questions at this point or wait till the end?
I have one question first, Mayor Kidd, and it's coming from Mr. Rob Ritchie. And he's asking if the city is going to support the letter from the Township of Southwest Oxford and if the provincial government allows them to install automatic speed enforcement, so photo radar. Will the city follow this carefully in case a similar thing can be done by St. Michel?
2 parts to that, I guess. First of all, Highway 11 and Highway 65 East and West are MTO controlled there, so they look after the speed enforcement on those 2 highways. So that would be a decision to be up to the MTO as to whether they were going to put a radar enforcement on those. It's something the council may look at in the future if it's legislated that the province allows the municipality to put photo radar within the city limits, and then that's something we can look at later on in the year if that is decided by the province. I mean, we would have to maintain strictly on our city maintained roads there. So that's probably the only way we look at it. Any comments to you, Chris, or anything different?
No, that you're right. It is under provincial jurisdiction. I know we've brought it up at the Police Service Board a couple of times, and it's been difficult to try and move that file forward because it's assumed it's under municipal control, but it really is a provincial highway.
No, that's strictly controlled by MTO, all those major Kings highways there. So any other question you want to deal with at this point, Shelley?
No other questions at this point.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the presentations, and there are none tonight. And we'll move into item number 10, the communications. And we first is 10A is a letter from Ida Hilson, a resident of Twin Shores. Just a thank you card that's received for information there for all the work that the staff and the council are doing. 10B is a letter from Mary Ellen Greb, the CAO, looking for support for use of the automatic speed enforcement photo radar by municipalities. That was a question was a few minutes ago. That's received for our information. 10C is a letter from Nicholas Tobler, a resident requesting to purchase municipal land, and that was received on January the 11th. And that's been referred to the municipal clerk for processing according to the disposition of land bylaw 2015-160. 10D is a letter from Graydon Smith, the mayor of the town of Bracebridge, looking for support for investing in Canada infrastructure program. And that was received on January 22nd. That's received for our information. 10E is a letter from Rebecca Hunt, library CEO, in the Western Shores Public Library Board meeting schedule for 2021. That's received for our information. 10F is a letter from President Danny Whalen from the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FNOM. And FNOM has had a very productive meeting with the members of the Premier's Board's cabinet during the Roma conference, and his report was received on January 27th for our information. And that's all the correspondence, and I've got a motion moved by Councilor Ferrier, second by Councilor Hewitt, Be it resolved that City Council agrees to deal with communication items 10A through 10F according to the agenda references, and that's when we want some of those communications brought back for further discussion. Council MacArthur.
Yeah, I know that you touched on this just a few minutes ago, but I had it written down here. I would really, really like to see us have some kind of authority to use this automatic speed enforcement on Highway 11B from New Liskeard to Hillbury. And I would like it to be brought back, and I'd like to get into a discussion about it because the MTO does not run that road. We do.
No, that's actually considered Lakeshore Drive now. It's actually not 11B.
Well, okay.
It has been transferred over to the municipality, so we do have control there. We could put
That's right.
radar.
I think that is the most abused area of speed between both the former cities. And we've been talking about signs and putting up radar signs in. We've never seen them. I think Public Works said they had them. I think this council has to do something about the speed between New Liskeard and Hillbury. And I am not in no way going to give any shots to my colleague, Mr. Jelly, because the police board, I'm not saying that they don't care about it, but I think if we really look at this situation, it's getting out of hand. And I just think it's an opportunity to do something about it. But I don't blame the police board. I'm not jumping down their throat. But what I'm saying is that if there's going to be something here we can possibly agree with another municipality on, I see no reason why we shouldn't investigate it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I think when the province gives us authorization to actually use photo radar, I know the city of Ottawa has been, I seen an article in the paper last week that they're actually using it and raising some revenues with the photo radar in the city of Ottawa. So I don't know, we don't seem to have authorization from the province yet to use it in our municipality. So we'll have to definitely look into that. Councilor MacArthur and Councilor Jelly wants to respond to your challenge.
No, I didn't. I'm going to agree with Mike in bringing it back. I think we should stay on the bandwagon and get it brought back. If and when we can get approved here, it certainly would be beneficial. I look at it as a point of controlling speed, but also allowing our police officers to tend to other duties that are more pressing. And it's very difficult in this day and age, and manpower shortages and what have you, and that's all understandable. And this would just allow maybe some manpower to be focused in other areas of much more danger, i.e. our drug issues and what have you. Thank you.
No, I certainly agree with that for sure. So we'll bring that back and keep it in touch there. And when the province does give us more direction on that, we can certainly respond to that. So, other comments on the correspondence? Councilor Hewitt? You're muted. Sorry.
Sorry about that. My apology. In regards to the letter from Phenom, I'm just wondering, the link that was posted, are we going to have more Come North posts that is going to be representative of our municipality?
Councilor Whalen, you want
question?
Yeah, I can respond to that. We're doing a series of 7 videos, one highlighting any type of business, manufacturing, retail, forestry, whatever the district wants to promote. District to Temiskaming has already been done. It was 3H manufacturing. So we do have 4 more videos to get out, and we're already getting requests for more. So we're going to take a second look at it.
Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, I think that's valuable for sure to represent the region for Come North, but also our municipality, and have a different sectorial videos. Thank you for sharing.
And Mayor Kidd, if I can just make a comment regarding the photo radars.
Yes,
that is being greatly discussed at the EMO executive and board meetings. But, you know, we're here talking about it, but a resolution from council speaks volumes. So if we're going to bring it back, if Councillor MacArthur wanted to prepare a motion, that would go a long way.
Yeah, I made a motion to bring it back, Councillor Whalen there, so we'll bring that one back for sure. Next, have a motion ready for next council meeting. I wouldn't mind also discussing or having a resolution in support of the town of Bracebridge as well. I think we have to keep pushing the federal government and the provincial government to make sure we get more Canada infrastructure dollars as well. So I wouldn't mind bringing that back for more discussion and get a resolution of support for that one as well. So, any other comments? If not, anybody oppose the resolution as amended? Hearing none, I'll say that's carried. Item 11 is committees of council, community and regional, and there's no reports to speak of tonight. Item number 12 is the committees of council, the internal departments. And I got a motion moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. Be resolved the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held on January the 21st, 2021. And B, the minutes of the Recreation Committee meeting held on January the 18th, 2021. Any comments on those two sets of minutes? Anybody oppose that motion? We'll consider that one carried. Item number 13 is the reports by members of council, and we do have a report that's filed with the clerk there for the 2021 Roma conference from Councillor Whalen, as well as another report that I filed myself for attending that conference. And I don't know whether Doug wanted to make a few comments verbally at this point. Go ahead, Councillor Jelly.
Yes, I will. I also have a report prepared, but I was waiting for some information, some clarity on an issue that I had during I attended one of the concurrent sessions on Section 10 boards, and I was just waiting for a little clarification. I found it today, and I have my report prepared. I just have to amend one portion of it, and I will forward it to the clerk, perhaps to go on the next meeting, or if she wishes to share it with fellow councillors, that's fine. And again, it's just outlining that I attended and what I attended while I was there and the 4 breakout sessions that I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Other comments? Councillor Whalen.
Yeah, if I may, Mayor Kidd, on top of my written report, I just wanted to advise council that TME executive will be holding an executive meeting again on February the 11th. And we'll be having a discussion and a presentation, I believe, from DSAB and the Public Health Unit regarding the community safety plan. So that process is, as much as it lacks mention, it is moving forward. It's just taken some time. And I also wanted to say, in case the AMO executive had a couple of meetings now with Minister Clark regarding municipal insurance premiums. And we had a lengthy discussion about this at the AMO executive meeting, and NOMA and FNOM both put out a request to their member municipalities to share whatever data they can about their municipal insurance premium increases. I know some municipalities might not want to share actual dollars and cents, but if staff sees that request come across their desk, and we can ask you to share whatever you think is shareable, because Minister Clark, we are trying to build a database of information based on types of claims and whatnot. So that would be greatly appreciated. That's it.
I would think the insurance costs are public knowledge, Chris, to my knowledge there. So there's no reason why we can't share that information.
Yeah, I just as far as naming any claims or anything. So we're wondering what the type of claims are compared to the premium increases.
Okay,
Chris?
so we could gather some general data for you, Councillor Whalen, on the so they're looking like slip and falls, motor vehicle accidents, liability. They're looking for the types of claims.
Yeah, we realize a lot of the insurance.
Somehow you muted yourself there, Dan. There we go.
Sorry, am I back on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
We realize a lot of the insurance premium increases due to flooding and fire, and lots of the stuff beyond the municipality's control. But if we can get just a general overview, that would be really help us when we sit down again with Minister Clark and the province.
Okay. We'll get you.
If I may, Mayor Kidd, the email has come in and I responded to what they had asked for.
Oh,
Good, thanks.
Thanks very much.
That's how efficient our staff are, Danny. So, any no's and motions tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 15, the new business. And I think Laura Lee, if she's online there, is going to give us a verbal update on their tax collection. Laura Lee, you're on.
Hello, Mayor Kidd and Council. So we met with the Corporate Services Committee on February the 1st to discuss whether the city wanted to proceed with normal tax collections and our interim tax billing. So based on those discussions with the Corporate Services Committee, a recommendation was approved to proceed with normal tax collections as we had discussed in November, and to proceed with the interim tax bill in February with our March and May installment dates, and that we would deal with any issues that came up if any COVID related issues came up, similar to what we did last year with the deferral of penalty on the installments. So we wanted to bring this forth to council to ensure that all of council is on the same page with regards to tax collection and the interim tax billing.
Thank you. I can read the motion or draft resolution there, and then we can have a discussion on it. It was moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Jelly. Be resolved that the council provides direction to the treasurer to proceed with 2021 interim tax billing as per bylaw 2021-002, being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy for the payment of taxes and to establish penalty and interest charges. And further, that the treasurer continue with tax collection process as per the city's tax policy in accordance with resolution 2020-531 adopted at the November 17, 2020 regular council meeting. Any comment, discussion? Councilor MacArthur.
Yes, I was just wondering, Laura Lee, if we have many taxpayers behind. How are we doing that way? Are we? I guess we're trying to get as much back money in if we have a lot of it out there. But I'm just wondering how we're making out. Taxpayers once in a while are wondering how you're doing with different buildings, or not everybody is working and not everybody can pay their bills. But how are we doing? Thank you.
We're not seeing a significant decrease. We didn't do any, we're obviously behind in our tax collection because last year we didn't do anything in relation to properties that would have technically been registered in January. So we let those properties and any other properties that I normally would have been in touch with to try to get payment agreements in place or make arrangements through mortgage companies or the banks and stuff, contact title and lien holders. So we didn't do any of that normal collection process that we had. So we're obviously about, we're a year behind where we normally would be at this point. Overall, the numbers, when I take those out of the scenario, they're very similar to what we normally would be starting with on a regular collection year. So we're not seeing any additional properties that are in a detrimental position for collection purposes. We just have to separate the two, and because we didn't deal with any of those prior year issues, when we look at the numbers, they're fairly similar to what we would normally be dealing with. So, but now we have to deal with all of them because we didn't do any registrations, we didn't do any follow-ups due to the COVID. So there'll be a little bit more work this year, and with council's permission and the direction to go ahead with tax collections, we'll begin that shortly after we send out the interim tax bills.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll call the question. Anybody opposed to that motion? We will consider that motion carried. Thank you. Item 15B is COVID-19, the Small Business Relief Program. It's, I think Laura Lee's going to give us a bit of an update on that as well. Just as it came out in the last few weeks.
So this again is there's two issues related to the small business relief. The province is proposing a new subclass for small business. We have yet to see any of the regulations with regards to that to be able to determine if that's a viable option for the city. But there's also been what was discussed at corporate services again on Monday was a small business relief program offered by the city. We discussed this with the committee, and the direction was to investigate a deferral program for taxes and water sewer relief. It would be an application-based case-by-case process, and we would bring it back forth to council, a more formal proposal at a future meeting if this is the direction that council wishes to go in with regards to assisting commercial businesses within Temiskaming Shores.
Thanks, Laura Lee. Any questions, comments on that report?
Your worship, I'd just like to make a couple.
I'd
just like to make a couple of comments around the small business piece. So, absolutely, we recognize that, our small businesses are being impacted greatly by COVID-19. And, one of the things that we talked about at corporate services was really to look at, areas where we've seen a reduction in usage in some of the services that we provide, and to see if we can put something together where we can really, support our small businesses in the time of need. So I know, Chris and the team are going to be working on a few different things, and I just want to, thank our residents for supporting our small businesses through these really difficult times. And at the same time, there are a number of programs out there that our small businesses could take advantage of. And I think one of the items that we did talk about was also our economic development group, maybe coordinating through the chamber and the BIA, just sharing, more information around, some of the government programs that are out there to make sure that nobody's leaving money on the table. So just a few things we talked about at corporate services. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of discussion yesterday regarding the Ontario Small Business Relief Program that came out just for the extended lockdown. It made coverage of some of your taxes, some of your utility expenses from December 26th, I believe, till the end of this lockdown. So you may be able to get some relief there for those kind of costs for at least a month or a month and a half there. So unless they extend it longer, and then they'll actually extend that for this area. So just want to make sure that the press picks up that, make sure that the chamber, BIA, make sure all their members have knowledge of that program as well. So.
Mayor Kidd, if I may.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Just maybe I'll explain just a little bit more on what this actual program that we're looking at is. It's very similar to what the town of Aurora has, and it's actually a deferral program. So we're not actually going to be providing relief of taxes in the sense of a write-off. It strictly would be dealing with when they have to pay their taxes. So it's not a write-off of taxes, it's a deferral of payment. But all of those taxes at some point will become due. So this is the program that we're looking at to provide relief to our commercial businesses in relation to closures and stuff like that. But we're not proposing at this point a write-off of taxes or water sewer.
No, I realize that there's two separate programs we're talking about here. The one the city's looking at, and also one that the province has just put out for tax and utility relief just during the extended lockdown. So that's a separate program put out by the province that people may want to take advantage of.
Yeah, I just wanted to ensure that council was aware of what we're proposing that potentially might come back at a future meeting if that's the direction that council wishes to go in.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? Anybody opposed to that motion? Well, I guess that was just a verbal update. Sorry, I'll go on to the next new business there. 15C is memo 004/2021 CS, the electronic meeting during a declared emergency with report participation guide. And the motion is moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Jelly. Be resolved the council for the city to sort of acknowledge receipt of memo 004/2021 CS, and the council adopt the electronic meeting during a declared emergency and remote participation guide, and that a copy of the guide is published on the city's webpage, Let the clerk advertise the question and answer period procedure in the city bulletin and on Facebook. It's a little different there. Any comments on that report? Councilor MacArthur.
Yes, I would just like this explained. I read it over. It seems to be temporary. It's declared an emergency. You're saying we're not accepting, like we're not going to have a question period anymore? Or can members ask questions at question time? Or does everything have to be, the public have to write their question in? They can't participate and come in front of you with their questions or use Shelley? I'm just reading, this is a different kind of format, right?
I think we're doing both. We're giving the general public a chance to pre-submit their questions as well before the council meeting. And then we'll still take direct questions on the agenda during the question period and for the council meeting as well. So,
Mayor Kidd, if I could, or maybe Logan could, part of this is, so this is not intended to cut off questions from the public, particularly items that they may have questions on the agenda as we go through. So as you can appreciate, doing virtual meetings, we've been doing them for almost a year now, but we're still learning as we go through. What we're finding is that the dialogue box, particularly on our Facebook page, is becoming just that, a dialogue, and that's not really what question and answer was intended for. It's not intended for discussions between members. So it would be akin to members of the public having discussion amongst themselves during a meeting, right? And that's not the intention. There's a specific time in the meeting where we have 2 question and answer periods and people can bring forward their questions. So that's part of the reason, trying to get a little bit of a better handle on that, that they are phrased in the way of a question. So that's difficult for us to kind of discern at times from a staff perspective what exactly is a question that's meant to be brought forward or what is a comment from a member of the public. So we're hoping that this streamlines it. It's certainly not meant to curtail input from the public. This has been going virtual for the city. I think has been a very positive thing. We've seen a lot of community engagement because of it. It's certainly not intended to curtail that, but we do need to, even on an online forum, we need to have a little bit of decorum, and that's what our procedural bylaw is intended to do. And so that's what this is meant to do. So as Mayor Kidd said, we would accept questions before the meeting, but also questions can be emailed in between the meeting. The main thing is that on particularly the Facebook feed, if there are any inappropriate comments, we will delete right away. But if it starts becoming a discussion between people and not really a question for council, we will moderate that a little bit more, just to make sure that it's clear and that there's a sense of decorum to the question and answer period. But it's not meant to stop people from asking council questions, because I really think virtual meetings have been a very positive thing and have brought people, engaged people in a way that we were never able to before having our meetings just at City Hall. I hope that helps a little bit.
Thanks, Chris. Any other comments? Is anybody opposed to that motion?
Dan, Councillor Whalen had a comment, Mayor Kidd.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say I appreciate the virtual meetings and the way it brings people to pay a little bit more attention to city operations. But the truth is that a pre-written question about any aspect of the agenda is going to get a much more detailed, comprehensive response than just a question through the chat box. So there is a huge benefit, and it allows staff to study the issue and come back with a comprehensive answer. So I do appreciate written submissions as well.
Thanks, Councilor Whalen. So, moving on, 15D is Administrative Report CS 006-2021, the Council Chamber Audio Video Accessible Upgrades. And I got a motion moved by Councilor MacArthur, second by Councilor Farrier. Be it resolved that Council for the City of St. Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 006-2021, and the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into an agreement with Cinema Stage Incorporated for the award of the Council Chamber Audio Video Upgrades as detailed in request for quote CS RFQ 001-2021 for a total upset limit of $134,514.24, inclusive for consideration at the February 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting tonight. So any comments on that resolution? Councilor Hewitt. So you're muted. Sorry.
My apology, Mayor Kidd, Council. Yeah, in regards to this particular report, I'd just like to know a little bit more about the background of, there was two accepted proposals, and I know it was by the same individual and, or the same organization, obviously, Cinema Stage, but, and it comes at good timing to upgrade our system. I thought it was a little bit hefty at $134,000. The other, so just in regards to the administrative report, there was different errors and omissions, and I'd just like a little bit of an upgrade as to what, because it's not necessarily expressed as to what the changes were for the tender. And then also I'd like to know whether or not we're receiving ongoing support once the system is in place.
But Brad or somebody answered as well. But I mean, this is going to benefit POA as well as council, and we've been looking at these upgrades for a couple of years now. We actually put it off last year and the year before there, so something we're looking going ahead. I think we got 100% funding through one of our programs on that as well. So, Chris, did you want to update that? Or
just wanted, I realize that this is this is a costly item, and it has been on the radar. It is below budget, so we had budgeted I believe 150,000, so we are actually below budget, which is good news. And we are looking at, so our idea was to try and utilize some of the funding that we had received through the COVID funding that we received, which again, this will help the council in continuing and enhancing virtual meetings. But even more importantly, I think the court system is going to change on a go-forward basis. We are doing audio court right now in the council chambers for the POA court. There is a lot of discussion right now about video courts. That could have a significant improvement as well in our actual court costs, court security costs, people traveling in and out. So those are not quantifiable right now, but a big component of this is the operation of the POA court as well, and positioning ourselves to make sure that we have an audio-visual system in place that's going to meet those needs, but also the needs of the city. But Brad, on the technical end and on the I'm hoping Brad is able to be on the meeting, but Brad might be able to answer some of the specific questions regarding the specifications.
Yeah. So your first question, Councillor Hewitt, there was a change in the US dollar from when they originally submitted the bid. So their second revision was about $7,000 cheaper. There's a lot of technical components to this. There's multiple cameras and audio processors to support the provincial courts, like Chris had mentioned. A bulk of the cost is to work with the existing furniture in the room. just because there's a lack of concrete, lack of conduits in the floor, and we don't want to wreck the existing furniture. So it's a lot of labor.
No, thanks very much. I appreciate those comments, and thank you, Chris, for sharing that some of the funding from the COVID relief would also go towards this this venture. I know it's something that we've needed for a long time, but don't know a lot about the details and the background work. So thank you for sharing that. I think the other question, Brad, is hopefully we'll have ongoing support as we move through this process to make sure there's no kinks once everything's up and running. And hopefully that's also in the cost proposed.
For sure.
Yeah. Brad spent a lot of time over the last couple of years just jury rigging things and trying to keep things going there with the cameras and everything else there, and the monitors and that. So, other comments? Councilor Jelly.
Yeah, I just want to add a little bit to what Chris was saying there. This is has been on the radar for a while. And the talk around, the policing world and the court world is that there's going to be a lot more video trials and what have you. So we're very well positioned to do these, and it will come as a savings, like Chris alluded to, in court security and prisoner transport. So I think we'll find that this is very beneficial and probably overdue. One thing about this COVID, I think we're starting to really hone our skills on what's advantageous to various systems as we go on.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? Anybody opposed to this motion? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll consider that motion carried. 15E is memo 004 2021 PW, the fire rescue vehicle, and the release of a request for proposals. And I got a resolution moved by Councillor Foley, second by Councillor Hewitt. Be resolved, the council for the city of St. George acknowledge receipt of memo 004 2021 PW, and the council directs staff to release the request for proposals document PW RFP 001 2021 for a fire rescue vehicle to potential bidders for the closing date of Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. Any comments on that resolution? Councilor MacArthur.
Thank you, Mayor Kidd. Yes, I remember reading this in the capital budget, and I have nothing against it, except that yourself and Councillor Jelly and myself sit on the PPP committee, and also we sit, the three of us sit with the volunteer firemen. And I don't remember this. Usually the fire chief brings it up at a PPP meeting when anything is coming up about any item, whether it's a piece of equipment or anything to do with fires. And I just wondered, did this surpass the PPP committee this time? Because I don't remember ever discussing it. And it's not a big deal, but we do have a committee. And I just wondered, should it have gone?
Go back about a year and a half, Mike. This was discussed in 2019, and it came through PPP and through all that discussion, and then it got put on for the 2020 budget. So this is bringing it back up. We've included it in the 2021 budget to look at that, but it's been on the radar, and we've had discussions.
I never remember this passing. Okay, I never remember this passing it. So sorry.
Maybe another senior.
I stand to be corrected. Okay.
So
I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, they've actually, when we discussed it, they were going to put together a committee of firemen to go through and spec it all out there. So they've done that over the past year, and we're going ahead there. So, any other comments, Councilor Hewitt?
Yeah, just in regards to the request for proposal, the different the work that went into the speculations and the specifications was well done. So way to do your homework.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody opposed to this motion? Seeing and hearing none, we'll consider that motion be carried. 15F, memo 005 2021 PW, the 2-year roads program, release a request for proposals, and the motion is moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor MacArthur. Be it resolved that Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of memo 005/2021 PW, and the council directs staff to release the request for proposals for the 2-year roads program to potential bidders with a closing date of Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. Any comments? Anybody opposed to this motion? We'll consider that carried, and Mitch can carry on there and hopefully get some good bids on that 2-year $5 million program. 15G, memo 006/2021 PW Asset Management Plan Phase 1, the draft, and I got a motion moved by Councilor Ferrier, second by Councilor Jelly. Be resolved that Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of memo 006/2021 PW, and the council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to adopt the asset management plan phase 1 for consideration at the March 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. And I believe Jeremy's on the line here today as well. If anybody's got any questions on this asset management plan. Chris, did you want to make a comment? I seen your hand up, maybe not. No, okay. So anybody got any questions for Jeremy tonight? Councilor Hewitt.
No questions for Jeremy, but just a very commendable report and really well done. There was a lot of information, and I would encourage anyone of our public to go onto our website. And we often get questions in regards to public works and the different costs for different areas, specifically the highways. And I thought it was really well done. A lot of good information and well presented.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in how many miles we have of storm sewers, how many miles we have of sewer lines and water lines, I mean, it's all in there in all details, how many culverts we've got. And there's lots of information if somebody wants to spend an hour or two just going through that report. So that's great. Jeremy did a commendable job of putting all that together. And that's just phase 1. We'll have to go through phase 2 in 2023, I believe, and then further amendments by 2025. So any other comments? Yes, Councillor Whalen. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Part 1 is a very worthwhile document. I've said it a number of times, though, it's a living document. It's going to change as we grow. And a lot of the thought is that this is a public works document. It's not. We've just done public works first and those assets. It'll be something for the recreation committee to follow. It'll be every committee that the municipality has at some point in the future will be referring to our asset management plan. So that's the importance of it. And I think we're off to a great start. I know talking to some other municipalities, we're way ahead. So congrats and hats off to Jeremy for that.
And any funding requests that we put in are have to be tied back to this asset management plan. The provincial and the federal government's going to look at that. If it's not listed as not priority in your asset management plan, you're not going to be approved for any funding. So it's a priority there. So any other comments? Anybody opposed to that motion? We'll consider that one carried. 15H, Administrative Report PW 001/2021, the ICI water meter program. And I got a motion moved by Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Hewitt. Be resolved that Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report PW 001/2021, and that as outlined in bylaw 2017-015, the procurement policy section 10, Council approves to waive the tendering procedure and directs staff to enter into a negotiation with Neptune Technology Group to finalize pricing for the supply and installation of water meters for the ICI sector based on the justification as outlined in Appendix 02, a single source justification. Any comments, questions on this resolution? If there's no questions, anybody opposed to this motion? I would consider that carried. I think this is going to be a great asset for the city to have all the ICA with water meters there, so we can actually get some idea of how much water usage and get things built out a little fairer there on the actual water usage. So, 15I, Administrative Report PW 002/2021, the Orange Drop event. We're bringing this back in this year, possibly. Motion moved by Council Foley, second by Council Whalen. Be it resolved, the Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report PW 002 2021. And the Council agrees to host an Orange Drop event on Saturday, June the 5th, 2021. And the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary amendment to bylaw 2016-018 to extend the agreement with Drain All Limited, allowing for the provisions of collection and disposal services for the Orange Drop event to be held on June the 5th, 2021 for consideration at the February 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting later tonight. So any discussion, comments? Anybody opposed to this motion? I think that's a well-used program that we can bring back there. That's great for July or June the 5th. 15J, Administrative Report PW 003 2021, the City of St. George Water and Wastewater Financial Plan, number 218-301A. And I got a motion moved by Council LaFerrier, second by Council MacArthur. Be resolved, the Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report PW 003 2021. And the Council acknowledges the requirements within the Ontario Regulation 453/07 under the Safe Drinking Water Act to have a financial plan for the purpose of issuance and renewal of municipal water or municipal drinking water licenses. And the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to adopt the City of St. George Water and Wastewater Financial Plan number 218-301A for consideration at the February 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. And the Council directs staff to submit the financial plan to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So, any questions, comments? I know Laura Lee put together a lot of numbers there in that report there. It's very well done. Councilor Jelly.
Yeah, just one comment. I just want to point out that this report was done in-house this time. We didn't have to go out and go out to tender to get somebody to do it. So a job well done, and probably saved us some money. Thank you.
Chris, you got
that was gonna, so thank you, Councillor Jelly. I just wanted to commend both Steve Burnett and Laura Lee McLeod for some tremendous work on this plan. Last time we did our water wastewater financial plan, we went to an outside consultant and it cost the city $15,000. So by doing that in-house, there was a significant savings, and I'm very pleased and impressed with the work that our staff put into that. So I just thought council should be something to highlight, that some savings that by doing the work in-house.
Thanks to Steve and Laura Lee there, Chris as well. So thank you. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, if I may, Mayor Kidd.
Yes.
I was actually gonna comment on the ICI water meter program, but I thought I'd wait for this motion, do them both together so I don't talk too much. But this is a great document, a lot of work and effort put into it, so I appreciate that. Sometimes though, the numbers we use within our own calculations, we know are a little bit skewed, simply because one of the services that we know we're a little bit off on is our water sewer rates and delivery. So I think between the water meter program and this financial plan, where the city's off to we're going to be in a much better position to calculate our own finances as well. So thanks again.
Thanks, Councillor Whalen. Any other comments? Anybody opposed to this motion? We will consider that motion carried as well. 15K, Memo 002, 2021 RS, the amendment of members to the Bicycle Friendly Community Committee. And I got a motion moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Hewitt. We resolve the Council for the City of St. George acknowledge receipt of Memo 002, 2021 RS. The Council accepts the resignation of Amanda Monjon from the Bicycle Friendly Committee and agrees to appoint Erica Alterman to replace this vacancy. And the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to amend the appointment of community representatives to various committees and boards. That's bylaw 2019-018 for consideration at the February 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. So, any comments? Councillor Foley, go ahead. You're muted.
No, I just wanted to say thank you to Amanda for all her work. She's big on cycling in this community, and I'm sure she's probably not done. She's probably to be involved in other ways. Probably she's cycling all the time, every day almost. And I just want to thank her. She was a big part of the bicycle friendly committee for since it started.
I'm sure Erica will try to get all council out to another bicycle ride before one of our council meetings. I'm sure when this pandemic gets a little further along here. So yes, thank you very much. Any other comments? Anybody opposed to that motion? That is carried. 15L, Administrative Report RS 002, 2021, the splash pad lift station. And motion moved by Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor LaFerrier. Be resolved, the council for the city of Twisting Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report RS 002, 2021. And the council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into an agreement with Xylem Incorporated for the supply and delivery of a prefabricated single-phase lift station in the amount of $72,454.78 plus applicable taxes for consideration at the February 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting later tonight. So, any comments on that? Jesse and Mike were very involved in that committee there, and they see that splash pad get started there. So, if there's no other comments, anybody opposed to that motion? We will consider that one carried. Moving on to item number 16, the bylaws. I got a motion moved by Council Foley, second by Council MacArthur. Be resolved that bylaw 2021-010 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-110, the service delivery program under the Livestock, Poultry, and Honey and Bee Production Act. A repeal of appointment of Timothy Goodyear as a livestock valuer. Bylaw 2021-011 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 2016-172 to appoint a property standards officer for the purposes of enforcing bylaws related to the use and the occupancy of property within the city of Twisting Shores, and that repeal appointment of the Timothy Goodyear for this bylaw as well. Bylaw 2021-012 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 2016-173 to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer within the city of Twisting Shores, and this is to repeal the appointment of Timothy Goodyear for this bylaw. Bylaw 2021-013 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a funding agreement between Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Ontario, represented by the Ministry of Transportation for the province of Ontario, relating to the funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program 2021. Bylaw 2021-014 being a bylaw to authorize an agreement with Cinema Stage Incorporated for the audio visual upgrades for the city of Twisting Shores. Bylaw 2021-015 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2016-018, the agreement with Drainall Limited as a registered transporter for the city's municipal hazardous waste and special waste 2021 orange drop calendar event. Bylaw 2021-016 being a bylaw to adopt the city of Twisting Shores water and wastewater financial plan 2018-301A in accordance with the Ontario Regulation 453/07. Bylaw 2021-017 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-018, the committee appointments for the bicycle friendly committee. These bylaws be hereby introduced and given first and second reading. Any comments?
Mayor Kidd, if I could just
Right.
on
Yes, Chris.
on bylaw, the gas tax funding, bylaw 2021-013, that is an increase of $3,800 in our provincial gas tax funding, and that gas tax funding is dedicated solely to public transit. It's separate from the federal gas tax funding, which we use for other infrastructure projects. But it is an increase over last year of $3,800.
Thank you, Chris. Good information. Anybody opposed to that motion? I'll consider that motion carried. And moving on, motion moved by Councilor Hewitt, second by Councilor Whalen. Be resolved that bylaw 2021-010, 011, 012, 013, 014, 015, 016, and 017 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the clerk will seal affixed there too. Any last comments? Anybody opposed to that motion? We will consider that one carried. So schedule of meetings. Next regular meeting is Tuesday, February the 16th at 6 p.m. I would think maybe another virtual meeting, and we'll find out. We'll let everybody know there. So, and the second meeting after that will be Tuesday, March the 2nd at 6 p.m. So, Chris, you have a comment?
Not to jump in on Logan, but I believe February 16th, we are going to do the same format as tonight, and hopefully for March. So we may be allowed to meet in person, but it would be a bit too much of a scramble. So we're going to assume that we will continue with this type of meeting for the 16th.
Oh, I think everybody's doing very well. Everybody's getting online. I think we've resolved all the issues that we've had there trying to connect and everything else. So it's working well. So I don't think that'll be an issue at all. So second question and answer period. Shelley, or
I have two questions here from Rob Ritchie. So the $72,000 for the lift for the splash pad is above the funds raised for the splash pad and therefore an added cost. He's asking that.
Brad, I believe that was all within that fundraising and all included in that actual cost. But maybe Brad or Mike can clarify that.
I think you mean Matt, Mayor Kidd.
Or Matt, sorry, yes. Matt?
The cost for the lift station is included in the overall project cost that council approved in the budget.
Okay. So this will just be the first item that we're actually purchasing at this point, and then we'll continue to purchase all the equipment from our other suppliers as well. So
that's correct. The only reason this is coming to council at this point is because we wanted to make sure that we didn't miss out on the ideal time to install it in the spring. And the lead time for receiving it is a little bit long. And again, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to miss out on that time frame later on.
So delivery time for all the components is still looking at what, 4 or 5 months minimum or maximum?
So we haven't signed our agreements for those parts of the splash pad project just yet, but we're getting very close to being able to do that, and are looking to have construction completed sometime this summer. But I'll have more details for council once I kind of compile all that information.
Okay, good. Other questions, Shelley?
Yes, one last question, and it's in regards to the council chamber upgrades. And Rob's question was, he understood it's provincially directed, but it seems excessive, and is asking if there is funding available. You've already answered this. The Safe Restart funding is going to be used for this project.
Yes, yeah, and I think it'll be great benefit to POA as well as council there. So I don't think it's exorbitant amount of money there to spend on that upgrades for the audio video as well. So any other questions come in on the chat lines since council started?
There are none.
Okay. Any questions from council members tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 19.
Councillor Foley, Mayor Kidd, Councillor Foley had his hand up.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Recreation Committee. I've been out on the skate path a couple times in the last week, and the diamond rink, and both are fantastic and in great shape. And the skate path is it's a really great addition to the waterfront.
Yeah, they've extended that almost down to the mini putt there now, eh? So no, the cold weather's helped there a lot as well. So, any other comments, questions? If not, we got a motion moved by Councilor Jelly, second by Councilor LaFerrier. Be resolved, the council agrees to convene in closed session at 6:58, so 7:05 to discuss the following matters: A, the adoption of the January 19th, 2021 closed session minutes, and B, the section 239(2)A of the Municipal Act 2001, the security of the property of the municipal regarding the hydrocarbon contamination zone. Anybody opposed to adjourning for 5 minutes, and then we'll pick it up and go into closed session. So nobody's opposed. I'll consider that motion carried. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And I guess Brad will cut the feed